Hi, my divine feminines. So I recently posted a video on my TikTok talking about it was a channeled message that came to me in a dream to give you guys free questions that you should ask yourself before you listen to someone online who talks about twin flames, because as I explained in this video, 90% of information that is out there is either a straight on lie, fear-based lie, or coming from people who don't know what they're talking about at all, or simply just yet, because they themselves yet are confused. If you want to check that out, it's on my TikTok, a message in my blue jammies, because I got up in the morning and I had to leave it out there for you. I want to leave a couple of additional information because there were some comments underneath that video, and some of you reach out to me as well asking questions for more details. So I want to mention to you one thing. If you remember, if you've watched that video that I've done on my YouTube as part of my Divine Feminine Masterclass, about the path of the feminine, right? So how to discover your path, how to know your purpose, how to know as you are awakening and activating to the journey, what are you supposed to do? What are your talents? Because I oftentimes say this to you guys in the beginning, we get so excited about everything. So we explore everything, past lifetimes, crystals, Reiki, Akashic records, like whatever. It's just so exciting. Things that we haven't known either at all before awakening, before activation, or we knew something but we didn't like delve deeper into those things, right? But eventually all of us will tap into that craft that I also always say to you, that craft will choose you, right? And in that video, go ahead and watch it if you're interested. I explained that I like to categorize the path of the divine feminine on a twin flame journey into three baskets, right? That first basket, if you remember me explain this, are those of us who, all of us are high priestesses. All of us will tap into our wisdom of our womb, wisdom of our ancestors, become oracles, and activate our clairs, clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, and so on and so forth. However, not all divine feminines on a twin flame journey become practicing shamans, become psychic mediums, become readers, become divination practitioners, or Reiki healer. It's not the path of all of us, right? Now, what I want you to remember, and it's going to help you when you think, is this person someone I should really listen to or not necessarily? If you take those of us that part of our path will be becoming spiritual teachers and having online presence or community presence, again, as readers, as shamans, as coaches, as people who literally work as healers, right? They label, I don't like labels, but they label themselves as healers. I'm a healer. You can come to me on session, whether I'm a coach or a medium or a shaman or a Reiki healer, you can come to me on session and we will work through your spiritual health, the health of your spirit, the state of your spirit, right? We will go through your womb, whether that's a womb healing, shadow work, whatever, right? You know what I mean. Because it's not the path of all feminines, but you know what I mean. So out of those of us, if you take all of us in that category, only small fraction of us, a very small fraction of us, will be meant to work with twin flames, will be meant to guide other twin flames. Why? Well, first of all, and the most logical answers, if you need logic still, is because there's very few of us. Comparing to all the people in this world who need healing, who need spiritual awareness, who need guidance, who need to improve the state of their spirit, with 8 billion souls. What matters is that there's very few of us. So not every divine feminine that gets activated as a medium, as a coach, as a shaman, as a whatever, is going to be working and talking about twin flames, right? Now, In the beginning, sorry I'm shaking, but I'm holding this like in my hand. In the beginning of your journey, like I said, you're excited, you're confused. You don't tap into your purpose immediately. So you don't know. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'm excited about everything. I'm still healing. Until you're still healing, certain things will be shown to you. You will start sort of tap into the energy of the thing that will pull you in. Your craft will start to pull you in. But until you're doing still deep healing, deep wound healing, deep work, deep shadow work, right? You're not going to fully tap into that because you're not yet ready. So first comes healing, then comes activations, and then you connect to your path, to your timeline. It's like not like a straight line and border. It sort of intertwines, but you have to go through your healing first. So in the beginning of this journey, you may not know, but many feminines are guided to spread the word already because it's in our blueprint, okay, in the blueprint of our soul, that we're going to be out there, that we're going to be leading. Again, some of us millions, some of us small communities, but we're going to be out there helping other people to figure things out, right? So some divine feminines, they jump online very fast and they start talking about things that they're passionate about. But because they're still in those first stages, what they're most passionate about is their journey, is their twin flame journey. So they go ahead and talk about this, but then they themselves haven't figured it out quite yet, just, okay? And now the important thing that I want to mention to you, I always say on this journey, we go through growth, we go through ascensions, and in those ascensions, we receive downloads. Sometimes on a daily basis, in between ascensions, we receive downloads of information, of knowledge from the divine. We activate, we start to remember more and more every day, every month, more knowledge, more wisdom of a womb, more wisdom of our ancestors. We get information from our spirit guides, right? And those information are usually in regards to two things, two big categories. One is what is relevant to you, to your path. Not all truths are universal truths. There are certain things given to the journey. There are certain things that are very universal, but many things you know for yourself. How it's going to happen for yourself. What am I supposed to do? And then the other category are information that you receive that are relevant for your craft. Okay, so if you will be working, for example, you will go into shamanism, okay, and you will be doing womb healing, you will receive more downloads on pain of the womb, trauma of the womb, sacral chakra, femininity, kundalini, so on and so forth. When you, for example, start to tap into your path and you're going to be working with past life regression, you're going to be starting to receive information about past life regression, how it works, how is it relevant, past lifetimes, how the journey of a soul looks like through lifetimes, right? So you're going to be receiving information for your specific craft, for what you need to know. We cannot know it all. Human brain would not hold it, okay? So those of us who will meant to work with other divines, divine feminines, divine masculines, assist in coming into union, helping others to come into union, spread the information, truthful information, divine knowledge about twin flames. What is the journey about? What is really our mission? Helping people to differentiate, because as you know, and I talk about this a lot, there's a lot of confusion, right? Twin flames, not twin flames. Those of us who have that on our path, we will receive downloads of information specifically for that. So we will not only receive information what is relevant to my path, to my journey, how it will happen for me and my divine counterpart, but generically speaking, how it looks like. Because again, I say this to you all the time, there are certain things that will be given to this journey and we all go through, right? And that's what I was covering in my masterclass. But there are also things that will happen differently. We all going to go through different kind of separation. We all going to go through different challenges. Our masculines have very different karmic lessons as well on their individual path. So something that may never happen to me is going to happen to you, for example, right? So not everyone goes 100% same step by step, same amount of time, same lessons, same wounds, because we're different souls. We have individual path, individual healing journeys, and so on and so forth. So if you're meant to work with other twins, you're going to be receiving generic downloads about this journey, right? You will know that. And those are the divine feminines that you should listen to. You should pay attention. You should trust their knowledge. So again, we're talking about females who are in inner union, who've been on this journey for quite a while, and you can clearly see that they dedicate their work to twin flames, their healing work to twin flames, not just talking randomly about this is what happens, but actually you see that in their work there's that element of twin flame, right? So again, I want you to differentiate between those of us who are in inner union and we have working with twins on our path, and those of us who are somehow yet in the beginning, in the first 2 years of the journey, and we only talk about this because we go through it. So we share information. Now, that doesn't mean that those females, you should not follow them, you should not listen to them, that they're spreading misinformation on purpose, but they're talking from their perspective. So engage with them on the level of we're in this together, we're building community, how are you feeling today, how are you handling separation, but don't necessarily attach to everything that they say, because they're looking from their perspective. And there's a lot of them out there that are still wounded, that are still for example, I'm going to give a few examples. I hear from many feminists, some of them say it's straight on, and some of them it's like a message in disguise, that you can clearly feel that they don't realize that the fact that your masculine is behind is an illusion. They think they're behind, or they think that they're meant to, if they're behind, they're entitled to go ahead and be aligned with a soulmate. Or there's still feminists who don't understand what the purpose of your life means, and they say that you cannot have a 3D job and a side job if you are a feminine, if you ever want to come into union. So there's a lot of nonsense, there's a lot of misinformation, or God forbid, I'm not even mentioning those that say that we're not meant to come into union, right? So you really have to, and if you are someone who you are divine feminine and you talk about these things, check in with yourself. And I'm not saying to you don't talk about these things, but if you don't feel that your path is connected to actually helping others, keep it in the level of your community and focus on your craft, because you would be surprised how many spiritual feminines, right? And I know many who are on a twin flame journey, whether they're still on a journey and they're in inner union connecting to their path, or they already in union with their divines, but they don't talk about this. Not all of us are meant to be like, hello, we're twins, we're in union, right? It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant for some of us to our path. And you would see them simply as womb priestesses, as shamans, as past life regression therapists, and you wouldn't even know, because it's not, in the end, we're not meant to sit here and run around talking about twin flame love, because it's something that will be deeply irrelevant for most people. We're here to talk about healing, love, soulmate love, spirituality, because that's relevant for all. And we are here to heal all, not just to heal fellow twin flames. Do you know what I mean? So again, two advice that I want you to take out of that. One, if you don't know who to listen to, really look at the profile of the feminine and think, does she seem like someone who is already developed in her craft? She knows what she's doing, and it really feels like her expertise, or one of her expertise, is twin flame. Because I myself, I don't solely work with divine, I work with divine love, but not twin flame divine love, only soulmate, as well soulmate divine love, right? So I will work with anyone who wants to find their divine self to be aligned with their twin or with their higher soulmate, right? I work with the feminines, I work with the masculines, I work to restore divine order and divine order between feminine and masculine energy in this world, right? So not just twins, but it's a very important part of what I do. Most of my collectives, I think I have 2 or 3 collectives that are not divine, and most of our collective are divines, right? So if you see that, it's someone that you will know, that they will have information, they will have divine knowledge, they will receive downloads about that. But if you see someone who is like still doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, jack of all trades, just sharing, just again, follow them, support them, give them love, connect to them, form that community, but detach from what they're saying, because they might not exactly be saying the ultimate truth, but their individual perspective, right? And if you are that divine feminine that is still confused, you don't know what to talk about, by all means, if you feel the need, it's a very difficult journey and it's a very lonely journey. So sometimes I find that some feminists go out there to share their story because it's like they want to connect to someone, right? We cannot usually connect to anyone in our real life and confirmation in our actual life. So we connect to other feminines. But I find that in the beginning of those of the journey, those communities can be confusing, because instead of giving each other strength, power, trust, we sometimes exchange fear and we sometimes exchange doubts, right? So if you are the divine feminine, try to focus on tapping into the energy. What is my craft? Am I really meant to talk about twins? If not, maybe I'll just, share that like in my stories. How am I feeling? I'm a divine feminine, of course, but maybe I will just focus my content on what am I meant to talk about. Maybe I'm meant to talk about energy healing. Maybe I'm meant to heal sexuality within people. Maybe I'm meant to help them find their path. Maybe I'm someone who will guide them through past life experiences. Maybe my path is completely outside of the spiritual world, because in the end we're here to build new earth, and in new earth everyone will be spiritually aware, not spiritually awakened, it's different things, but spiritually aware. So maybe I'm meant to be a yoga teacher, a dancing teacher, an arts teacher, a social worker, whatever is your path. Try tap into that and talk about that. We will all incorporate messages of love in that, because we're all led by love, and we're all meant to embody unconditional love and teach people to embody unconditional love. But again, not all of us are meant to guide and talk about twin flame journey. So if we want to remove the confusion and make it easier for those of us in future who will go through this journey, we really have to make a joint effort. So if you're not sure what you're talking about, either don't talk about it or make a very clear disclaimer. This is my journey. I have no idea, am I getting this right? So don't attach to what I'm saying. I'm just sharing how I feel and how I friend through this, and what I'm going through. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. There's one more thing I want to mention to you. And I'm going to give an anonymous example of someone that I've known for years and is a beautiful divine feminine, as someone who works as a healer. And she herself is on a twin flame journey, and she has taken a very conscious decision not to talk about this and not to include this sort of in her bio, in her portfolio, right? So if you if you go ahead and watch her and find her on social media, right, she doesn't have a big platform, because she's one of those of us who are meant to work in smaller communities. So she engages more with women locally, right, in her area, and she has a very strong community of females that she leads. She's an amazing soul. I love her. One of my favorite souls in the whole universe. And I'm giving you her example because it's such a wise decision. Her own journey was extremely painful. She went through unspeakable things in this lifetime, very difficult challenges, very difficult pains to overcome. She's a true warrior, right? And she is an activated twin. So she knows her twin flame. They are in separation. But she never mentioned this as she posts some content online, as she promotes herself. It's not part of her work to work with twins. So the only way you can know this, if you come to her on sessions and if you maybe get a little bit acquainted with her, and you also share yourself that you are on a twin flame journey. So with some of her divine feminine clients that are on a twin flame journey, she will open up and she will say that she herself is on a journey. So she understands. She understands the pain and understands the struggle. But because herself, herself, she many times, I don't want to say given up, but she was in so much pain and in so much struggle, and she was unable to really, 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 her journey of healing is very difficult, very painful. Again, unspeakable things in this lifetime. And we all went through unspeakable things in some of the lifetimes, but if you really lived the lifetime that you've went through these things, it's sometimes more difficult to heal that, because this is the body that still remembers it, right? So oftentimes she says, I don't want to do this anymore, right? I don't want to be on this journey. I want to focus on me. I want to focus on my healing. And I don't want to be healing parts of me that maybe will one day allow me to fully reconnect with my divine. And again, we can never know. We don't know what's part of her journey, what her soul decided, how long her soul decided the separation will be, what her soul decided that they actually going to be reunited in a sort of a shorter time frame, which is under 10 years, or maybe at the end of her lifetime. And I always say this to you guys, we choose this. We can say no, it's too much, I don't want it, and it's going to be prolonged. If we keep resisting, it might not happen, right, in a specific lifetime. But I always say this to you guys, my ultimate truth is, if you are really dedicated to your healing journey, to your path, it's only a matter of time. If you truly surrender, twins are meant to come into union, because in physical union we're so much more powerful, and we can, our work, our magic, our powers get amplified, right? So she has taken a conscious choice not to talk about this, because she herself, it's so difficult for her that it's easier for her to believe. She's focusing on healing of such horrible wounds of her own, that it's easier for her to think and tell herself, twins might not come into union. But deep down in her soul, she's wise enough to know that it's not the ultimate truth. So she doesn't go ahead and spread that. This is the wisdom of divine feminine. This is the wisdom of the womb. This is the wisdom when you know, this is my own fear. This is my own path. It may be relevant to me, but I'm not going to go ahead and spread it, because I don't want the fear to be spread, right? And she is someone at her, what she does, at her area of expertise, she is an amazing healer. So gifted, so magical, so powerful. So the fact that you've been activated through Twin Flame Journey doesn't mean that it's part of your path and it's part of your craft and it's part of what you're supposed to do. So yeah, I guess that's it. Food for thought. Again, for those of you who create content, for those of you who don't yet create content, but you are on a journey and you watch other feminines, really keep that in mind, that it's important to find your own craft, to find your own path. We're not all here meant to talk about. You would be surprised how many, beautiful people in divine union are twin flames in union. You don't even know that, especially like, for example, first wavers, that their path is not necessarily linked to, it's more of a us second wavers that are tapping into that kind of a path of spiritual teachers and practitioners and leaders and so on and so forth. So You're not twins to announce that to entire world. You're not twin to announce to entire world once you come into union. And I say this to you guys all the time. Union comes in peace, right? Union comes in peace. Union comes quietly. And one of the things that we learn on this journey is humbleness. So as you watch divine feminists who are in inner union, it's irrelevant where they are on their journey, because it's humbleness, right? So true divine feminine is not gonna come here and say, listen to me because I've done it, so I know what I'm talking about, right? Do you know what I mean? It's the humbleness, it's the compassion, it's the unconditional love, it's the I am me, I am you, and you are me, we're all one kind of mindset. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you really think about who should I listen to, who should I follow, who speaks the messages of love, who really has twin flames as part of their craft. I really don't think there's many of us, and there's only a few that I would recommend. And in this video that I've done, that channeled message, I recommended some of the content creators to you guys, and I believe it was like 5 or 6. And although I believe there's so many beautiful, powerful, amazing, incredible divine feminines, again, not all of us connect to the divine knowledge in reference to twin flames and twin flame journey. I think I've said enough. I'm gonna stop rambling because it's a first video, so it's gonna be like 30 minutes. I'm so sorry. But whoever meant to find it, one of my missions is as well to clear the gunk, to clear the karmics that think are twins, to clear the divine feminines that think that they need to talk about twin flame, even though they yet in fear and longing and they don't yet completely know what they talk about. This is part of my mission, so I'm really going to be talking about this loud and clear to really help you understand, because twins, we have been here since millennia, but this wavy kind of thing, this spiritual awareness kind of thing, this us coming together to come into union and elevate the vibration of the planet and create new earth is relatively new. So we're kind of yet figuring this out, and it's part of my mission. So yeah, I hope it was helpful. If you have questions, drop me a message or leave them in the comments of that video, of that channeled video, so anyone can see, and I will definitely respond. And I hope this was helpful, and I love you so incredibly much. Bye!